We're delighted to have Mr. Sunil Thawani with us today. More on Sunil in a second, but very quickly about the Guru series, the Yogananda Guru series. I remember around 30 years back when I was at IIT Kanpur, a lecture by Arun Shourie, the very famous journalist who then became a minister in the government of India, changed my life. He spoke about quality, which is, I think, also one of Sunil's topics. He spoke about how the world is talking about ppm, which is parts per million, and how India is still at 90% quality. It sort of made me think. And from a bad student, for a student who never thought about studies at all, it created a spark in my heart, my mind, and my life. And suddenly कुछ चमक गया और मेरे को लगा कुछ life में करना है. So one lecture from Arun Shourie changed my life. With the inspiration of that, we started the Yogananda Guru series. Now, I ended up at Arun Shourie's lecture by a matter of fate. There were free hot samosas being served on a cold winter day. And me and my friend Santosh Mishra went over there just to have samosas. We had no intention to listen to Arun Shourie. But Arun Shourie's lecture was so amazing that we all requested him to continue, and he continued next day for another couple of hours. And me and Santosh went there, this time not for the samosas, but for the lecture of Arun. Santosh is now a very senior IAS officer. He's located out of Chennai, and I also did fairly well in life. So the Yogananda Guru series is inspired by that one spark, that inspirational discussions with people who are outside your frame of work, your studies, can change your life, can dramatically make you think outside the box. So we started this Yogananda series around 7-8 years back. We're delighted that we've had people like Dr. Abdul Kalam who've come and spoken on the Yogananda Guru series. We've had 3 Nobel Prize winners who've come. We've had people like Yuvraj Singh, Harbhajan Singh, Kiran Bedi, and the list is endless. Lots and lots of corporate executives, and many of you have listened to many of the Yogananda Guru series of lectures. The thought is very simple. There are around 300, 400 people listening to this webinar. Agar 5 bachon ko bhi chamak gaya, I think the objective of having Sunil here and the effort that Sunil is doing will be, I think, fulfilled. So listen to Sunil carefully, see if you can get inspired. The whole objective is inspiration. The webinar world changed our lives. Corona changed our lives. And suddenly we could get people in front of you as students without them flying all the way to Solon. Sunil has been to our campus once, and thank you for that, Sunil. Hopefully you were inspired by the work that we're doing. But now we can have Sunil many, many more times in front of us, thanks to the webinars. And today, I'm not going to take the thunder away from the talk, but we have Sunil Thawani with us. He's a very dear friend. He's an extremely passionate person. He lives out of Abu Dhabi. We've met in Abu Dhabi a couple of times. He's very dear friends with Ashish, who's our fellow trustee at Shoolini and my elder brother. And Sunil is not just a great thinker, but I think you've done some amazing work around motorcycling and stuff across the country. So we'd love to hear about that, Sunil. How do you blend your passion with work? I think that's such an important topic. Yeah. So with that, I think let's hear Sunil. I'm sure it's going to be an amazingly passionate talk, amazingly passionate discussion. But before we go into Sunil, I would like us to do a 30 seconds gesture towards Poonam's brother-in-law who recently passed away because of COVID. So if you can do a silence for 30 seconds, I'll truly appreciate. So this is for Rajneesh, and may his soul live in peace. Thank you very much. We're very sad to hear this, Poonam, and may God give all of you, Arvind, you and the family, lots of courage to get over this irreparable loss.
Thank you, Atul. Thank you so
Over to
much.
you, Sunil.
Hi, good morning, everyone. It's absolutely a pleasure to be here with you again. One sec. Yeah, absolutely a pleasure to be here with you again. Atul, very nice to meet you again, this time virtually. I remember the brief conversation we had on the Corniche in Abu Dhabi. Sadly, I missed meeting you during my travels to Shoolini University in Solon. Absolutely beautiful campus. One of the campuses I love. I wish this digital thing was not there and I was there with you guys, enjoying the clouds and the greenery and the fresh air and be among the children, students, I mean. So thank you, Atul, Ashish, and Ashuji for this opportunity. So what I'm going to do is, I, what I learned during this whole life-changing experience of traveling around the world, how it changed me, as Atul very appropriately said, an outstanding example of his talk with Mr. Dr. Arun Shourie, and then how I've used these lessons in the corporate world. I mean, life teaches us all the time. So as we get into that, you all must be thinking, we are putting a lot of hard work and you have a lot of aspirations, you have a lot of thoughts. What's next in for you? Some of you may be thinking to go higher studies. Some of you must be thinking to look for jobs. Some of you may have offer letters in hand. Some of you may become an entrepreneur. So there's a lot happening, I'm sure, in your minds. And also you must be happy to be away from assignments, exams, and quizzes and all these things. I remember when I did engineering in 1979, after the last exam, I said, I'm never ever going to study again. This is going to be the last exam I'll ever take in my life. But that was not the case. I went out to do masters in industrial engineering, then MBA, and then even in professional life in Six Sigma and all that, exams and learning has become an integral part of our life. So let me dive into the experience. You see, I started my career with a steel giant called Bhilai Steel Plant. It used to be in Madhya Pradesh, now it is in Chhattisgarh. If you look at the map of India, it is right in the center of the India. A lot of people don't know it's a pulsating giant, one of the best, most modern steel company in India, and maybe one of the best in the world. We were 57,000 employees and living in a town of about 500,000. I used to live in a small house like this, as you see on the image, and this is the gate of the plant. The plant was going through a major expansion from 2.5 million tons to 4 million tons per year. And I was not happy with the work, actually. To be honest with you, I got a department, I was not excited. The whole culture was complacence, take it easy, and so on and so forth. I was just wondering what to do. So every day, we graduate engineers, management trainee, technical, we will meet over coffee and all that in a kacha shed, like adda kind of thing. So लोग क्या करें, ये तो कुछ तो करना चाहिए, बोर हो रहे हैं. So this idea came, कि चलो यार, let's, we all had Java motorcycles. YesD is a Czech-based, now I don't think it is produced anymore in the world. So he said, chalo, let's go for a drive to Nagpur. Nagpur was 250 kilometers, 5-7 hours road drive. Somebody said, nahi, chalo, Kana Kesli, let's go to the wild park. Somebody said, let's make a tour of the India. Then we said, why not travel the world? That's how actually this idea came up, over a cup of tea and just like a loose talk. You see, a lot of ideas keep coming in our minds, but somehow this idea is stuck to us. I don't know how and why. And what happened the next day, I was living in a 1-bedroom small house that became our office. So every day after work from 8 to 4:30, we will meet in the evening and started talking about it. So me and Anirudh Guha and Rakesh Asthana, we are 3-4 of us. And that's how the idea evolved. We started building on it without really knowing what all it involves. Just to take you back, in 1983, only managing director and couple of people had telephones to talk to outside Bhilai, to Delhi or Bombay or Calcutta. Even that trunk call, as you say, you have to book the call through an operator. It will not get through. So there used to be one Tatkal category. They will charge you 9 times, this post and telegraph department. Even then the call will not go through. We didn't have internet access to information. The only, I think, thing we had was our passion and energy to do it. We didn't know the procedure, what approvals we need, how will we get. Just to give an idea, it was not easy to get a passport. My company has to give NOC to apply for a passport. And it may take months. You not get a passport. And then getting approval from our own company. Impossible. We had bureaucracy. I was the junior manager and we had 10 people above me before the application, which is managing director. Can you hear me now?
Yes, you had just muted yourself. We can hear you.
Yeah, okay. So that's how the whole idea started. And then what we did was we applied for idea. So before that, we made an itinerary, where all we want to go. It took us 3 months to plan. You know what? We had one world map on paper, like A3 size. And we will put a thread, suppose I have to go from Delhi to Nagpur. It will have a road map. I'll put a thread on it, measure how many centimeters it is, and then calculate 1 centimeter is, let's say, 500 kilometers. And I know it's about 1,000 kilometers. It took us more than 2 months just to see how many kilometers and where all we are going. We prepared 3-4 months for this, and then we finally got an opportunity to meet managing director, Mr. Nimai Kumar Mitra. I mean, he was the finalist. He says, yes, our tour goes. Otherwise, we thought, will we resign and travel? I thought we may not do that. So when we applied, we met managing director. He gave us just about 7-8 minutes time. He heard us. He asked us one question: can you do it? We both said yes. He said, let's go ahead, do it. And then he called his secretary. He said, I know their file will get stopped at many places. He said, keep a tab on it, see it through. Second question, he said that, how will you raise capital? How will you raise money for it? He said, we'll contact corporate world and get some sponsorship. He said, nobody will give you a sponsorship like this to you. So he said, there's a Bhilai Adventures Club. You become members. Money will come to Bhilai Adventures Club, which is managed by Bhilai Steel Plant. It's a government entity, so that you don't get audited and things like that. And we'll transfer the money to you when you need it. So the first lesson I learned is, any project we do, you need an infrastructure behind it. You need people, committed people. You need an organization to run that. Actually, you need leadership. You need vision for any project or assignment. You see, leaders are able to see beyond, like what Steve Jobs could see, many others couldn't see. Like Honda Motor Company or Toyota could see, or Tesla, Elon Musk see, others couldn't see that. And then you need to be so strong in believing it that you need to work towards it. Other challenge I'll share with you was the visas. How do we get the visas? On the screen, you can see a small letter, Ministry of External Affairs. To cut the whole story short, we got a approval from Ministry of Youth and Cultural Department. That was the department we had those days. It took us a few months. Then they wrote to Ministry of External Affairs that 2 young engineers are traveling around the world and they will need support from visa. So they issued us this one page. This one page was so powerful. Suppose I have to go to UK, and I'm in Belgium, so I'll go to Indian Embassy in Belgium, show this letter. They will issue a letter from Indian Embassy Belgium to UK Embassy in Belgium, and then we will apply for a visa there, and they will issue the visa. Otherwise, visas are not given when you are traveling outside your home country. So this was one of the most powerful letter, which helped us cut through this maze and navigate through that. And people were extremely helpful. You see, if you talk sense, if you talk rational, a lot of people will turn around to your point of view. Another very important document was passport for the motorcycle. You see on the screen here is carnet de passage de douane. You see, when you are riding into the country, let's say going into Monaco or Switzerland by road, what is the guarantee you'll not sell off your bike and disappear? Or should there be import duty? You are taking goods into the country and when you go out, take it back. So we had difficult time getting the carnet de passage through Automobile Association of India. We had to do that. So I'm just trying to give you the scale of operation which we undertook without really knowing how and where to begin. Just it was the belief and the love and the passion. You see, we had the passion, me and Anirudh, for travel, for sightseeing, for adventure, meeting people, culture, and that's what took us around this. Then we got letters of support, for example, from Vice President of India. We had a letter from Director General Prabhu Ghate from Department of Tourism and Civil Aviation. You see, Ministry of Tourism has offices in all over the country. So we will go and meet Indian tourist offices. Many of them were even within Air India offices there. And that really helped. It helped us connect with people. They will support, they will guide, they'll say, why don't you go there also? It's going to be a lot of fun, actually. Or don't go there. There's a lot of unrest happening. We had plans to go from Mexico to Colombia and Venezuela through Honduras, Nicaragua, Central America, and there was war going on there in 1985, 86. So Indian ambassador, Mr. N.P. Jain, his IFS, he was our ambassador in Mexico City. He said, there's no way you can cross beyond south of Mexico. So people were extremely, extremely helpful. And then I put a letter for our great leader. I shall ever remain thankful to Mr. Nimai Mitra, our managing director, to show you. This just to give you an idea, these are the people who really helped us a big time. My uncles and relatives and ex-managing directors of Bhilai Steel Plant. You'll be surprised, I even met the vice premier of Soviet Union. He had come to inaugurate the plate mill of Bhilai Steel Plant because we wanted to drive through Russia, Soviet Union. And so Soviet embassy in Delhi will never reply. But even that didn't break the ice and we couldn't drive through Soviet Union those days. So just to give you an idea, there are hundreds and thousands of people behind that. These are some of the companies who helped us financially. Air India gave us a free ride from London to New York. We had to cross the seas, Atlantic Ocean and Pacific Ocean. Shipping Corporation of India gave us a passage from Bombay to Port Said in Egypt. Rusi Modi, Tata Steel, he was the only one who sent us a 5,000 rupees check just by writing. He was a great sports lover. And the check came to the managing director's office, and we were absolutely delighted. I mean, those days, we even gathered 250 rupees, which will buy us a jacket for the winter, that kind of thing. Then while we were planning, we had all kind of comments, apart from parents. Somebody said, you will be a different personality when you come back. The food abroad is bland. Can you take a jar of pickles with you? World tour on motorbike without pay? Don't do that. You lose a lot of money. And a lot of people said, leave India, don't come back. In fact, when I landed in US, they said, just get married with somebody, on paper. And by the time you reach West Coast, you can then divorce and you will have a green card. All these kind of suggestions were there and things like that. Now, this was the day where we were flagged off from by Mr. N.K.P. Salve. He was the Honorable Minister of Steel. This is the Steel Authority of India headquarters with Mr. Samar Pungwan, our chairman, and friends and relatives. We had hundreds of people come to see us off. Few people may remember, most of you will not know, television was a rarity. It was black and white. We will have program like Chitrahar once a week. Few songs will be there, 20 minutes. So there was one program called Fursat Mein. Yog Batra was the producer. He featured us 2 days before the flag off. Just 7 minutes. And those days, coming on a TV was an absolute rarity. And that brought so much crowd to this flag off. We didn't know hundreds of people who are there. They just came to wish us good luck and all the best. Then we drove from Delhi to Bhilai. And here you can see Mr. Nimai Kumar Mitra is the managing director, and S.R. Ramakrishnan flagging us off from Bhilai. What I want to tell you is, on this day, next day, it was Mr. Mitra's daughter's wedding. And previous day also there was an event. He just came for a few hours to flag us off. That's the leadership, He believed in so much. Every few weeks, his office will call us and say, sir wants to know, is everything okay? Do you need any help? So he believed in it, actually. So absolutely amazing leadership. I learned one very good lesson from him. He says, when you go up in your career, you will have a lot of difficult choices to make. You will have to take decisions. There will be a lot of strings attached to it. Somebody may bribe you. Some politician may try to ask a favor from you. Somebody may incite you to do something wrong. He said, always stick to your values and beliefs and integrity. When on this day, when he met us, he's told us one thing I still remember. This goes back 35 years. He says, you are going as ambassadors of India. Don't do anything there which will bring bad name to India, to Bhilai Steel Plant, Steel Authority of India Limited, and yourself and your family. So, I mean, these are words of wisdom and gold, and they remain with us forever, actually. Just to give you an idea, we had made a very, very detailed itinerary. Just a glance. You see, a lot of things on my website. It will tell you which country, which city, how are we going, what date we arrive, what date we leave that country, then we go into all that. Imagine we made this without any GPS or Google Maps, and it was also very, very close to reality. So I remember we'd were going from France to England, we crossed the English Channel, Calais to Dover. So when we were driving through that, 1984, just to give you a context, those days, Khalistan movement was at its peak. A lot of Sikhs were looking for political asylum in many countries, and some also doing some wrong practices. So a lot of people adopted crossing into England through road. So we were also being judged against that. That are these guys genuine actually? So we had all these letters and engineers and ID card and president's letter. That was great help. So the guy at the immigration, we told him we have a plan and we'll leave England in so many days. He said, show me the plan. When we showed him the plan, I remember it was fortunately the same day which we had planned and we were crossing into UK. He gave heads off. He says, unbelievable planning. I mean, credit goes a lot to Anirudh Guha for, he was a great planner, I was a great doer. So we just got it all together. So we had a very lovely plan. So key message from me to you is, nobody plans to fail. Many fail to plan. I'll say it again, nobody plans to fail. Many fail to plan. And this planning should be micro detail oriented. That's where the devil lives. Devil is in the detail. Then, when we came to Egypt, then Greece, and then Italy, Austria. Till that time, we really didn't know anyone. These are the first set of people you will see here. Mr. S.K. Dutt, he was our chief training officer. He was chief of training. He was a top management in Bhilai Steel Plant, and D.R.K. Rao, our chief training officer. They trained us in steel making. After retirement, they took up a job with M.N. Dastoor and company. It's a steel design niche top company out of Calcutta. They have offices in many countries. So they went to work for them in Austria. There's a company called First Alpine. You'll see here is one of the leaders in steel making in a small city called Linz. So this is the first time we met our own somebody known after about 1 month of travel. It was like coming home. And then they were very helpful. They took us to Indian restaurant, gave us some money to help, got us some warm clothes to wear. And here you see Elizabeth Gruber, this lady, I still remember, she was building her own home herself. I saw her climb up a small villa on the rooftop with a hammer, fixing the roof. World of difference between what we are brought up to do and what they do that. And by the way, if you ever know, the steel technology was totally changed using the oxygen blowing process, which was developed in Linz in First Alpine. So it was really a privilege and pride to, visit this company where from open earth furnace, the LD converter technology was developed. And here, this is everywhere we went, we had some newspaper meetings. Then this is in Spain. Coming to Belgium, there are some experiences. They love life, and there are motorcycle clubs. So, every weekend, very small town, they'll gather all motorcyclists. And they'll have all kind of fun prizes. Dirtiest bike, biggest bike, which has done the maximum kilometer, woman on the biggest, powerful bike, smallest bike, kids bike. Unbelievable. 300-400 people there. And when we drove into that, they were absolutely amazed. It's a very small village. Imagine some village near Solan. You got 200 motorcyclists coming, and there's some guy from Vietnam or Australia drives in there. And since we were dark or brown skinned, we were easily spottable. And we were just having tremendous attention for 2 days there. They just wouldn't leave us. It was a pride of the village also. And then they gave us a trophy, longest distance traveled. So that's what here you read here, Bhilai ke motorcycle chalak, Belgium mein jeete. Just to give you an idea, I have gone again here about 3 years back with my wife to show them this place I stayed. I have also gone back again to this place and met some of the people I had met in 1984. I went there in 90s. Oh, sorry, early 2000. US. Our plan was in winters we'll remain in the southern part of US and Mexico. So winter will quickly cover Toronto, New York, Detroit, Boston, come down. That day we drove the longest in our 1-year trip, 775 kilometers, and it was -7 degrees. We drove from El Paso in Texas to Phoenix. First time ever we drove in snow. And you know where we were driving? On the highway, there'll be a huge trailer which will drive. So on the big wheels, it will clear the snow. So we will drive on that little narrow path. You can see here, there's snow everywhere, and this is the path we are driving. And due to snowfall, this ice will collect in between the tire and the mud guard. So every 70, 80 kilometers, we'll stop with a screwdriver or hot water, we'll remove the ice. Ice will get gathered between the clutch and the accelerator. And we were not all equipped. So when we reached Phoenix, it was 0 degree and we were feeling warm. So grit and determination, steely determination, will sail you through. Now here in Detroit, our bike broke down. We had difficulty fixing it. So we went to these people, Yamaha motorcycle dealer. It was a 350cc RZ 350 bike, very popular model. Now, what I learned from them is when I was talking to them, you'll be surprised, nobody charges for the repair. At some place, even we had to replace the piston. The whole engine got broken in Mexico. They didn't charge us. And, Don said, I'm an electrical engineer, graduate in electrical engineering. So me and Goa said, then why are you fixing bikes? You're a mechanic. He says, I earn more money with this. I said, then why do you do engineering? He said, I love doing that. So, you see, what the passion is to learn electrical engineering. And then the profession is whatever gives you better money and satisfaction and joy. In India, we are brought up in a mindset, job titles and positions, and our identity and social status is linked to these things. It is not so there. Work has dignity. Even a mechanic or a carpenter. Just to add on, my daughter completed class 12th from Vancouver, school in Vancouver in Canada. So I went to the convocation. Every student will say what you want to become. 70% plus students said all the vocational skills. Somebody wants to become a carpenter, electrician, and things like that. Somebody scientist. So we also need to respect people who clean our campuses, the gardeners who make the campus so beautiful and green. Do we know the name of the gardener who does this? Do we know the name of the sweeper who cleans our hostel, or the cook who cooks the meals for us in the hostel? So there's a tremendous difference, and we need to really catch up a lot on this. This is a Yamaha Motor Company's headquarters. We went there. Just to give you a beautiful, this is 1985. Total quality management was not known in India. People didn't have customer focus. Even now, we have a long way to go. Quality is not important as such still. So when we went there, you'll be surprised at the entrance, they had an Indian flag flying. On the table, the general manager met us along with Tanaka. He is this gentleman, Tanaka. And guess what? There's a little small flag and Indian tea they prepared for us. And they heard us and they looked at our bike. Now, what I am about to tell you is very surprising. We were there 2 days in this place called Iwatashi, this Tanaka. He introduced himself as Muhammad, just for the sake of conversation. So, and he said, we are only four. So we asked him, are you Muslim? He said, we are only 4 Muslims in this town. Okay. The day we were leaving, he said, no, I'm not Muslim and we don't have Muslims here in our town. Then we asked him, how come then your name is Muhammad? Now listen to this. He says, Japanese names are very difficult to pronounce. We look after the Middle East market. We sell bikes in Qatar and Saudi and Oman and Kuwait and other places. To make it easy for our customers to call us and remember us, we change our name for them. Now imagine if, now it's a big company, hundreds of employees, when any telex will come, those days there were telex machines. When the telex will come, it will be Muhammad, Yamaha Motorcycle Division 1. The telex operator knows Muhammad is Tanaka. Imagine the customer service mindset 50 years, 40 years before. That's why Japanese have invaded the world markets. Whether it is automobiles, whether it is heavy machinery, whether it is shipbuilding, whether it is office equipment. Unbelievable customer mindset. I landed in Korean Incheon Airport. I was going for a United Nations conference. I guarantee you may not see this easily at any airport in the world. So we were in the queue at the immigration. You know what? At the immigration counter before that, there were reading glasses, 0.25, 0.5, 1, 1.5, 2 power. I was wondering why they have kept reading glasses. So asked the tourist lady, she said sometime in travel, people mix up keeping their reading glasses. It'll be in the briefcase or a pocket or they'll forget it. Now to help you fill the form, if you have got an eyesight situation, it's for that. Just unbelievable. I mean, these are life-moving experiences where we know a lot to do. Now this is just to give an idea how we were, flying the bike across the seas. This is, we are lifting the bike, put it in a ship vessel. Then and now. This is a very small beach called Porto Escondido. So this family, Guerrero, Mr. Jose Luis Guerrero family was camping there. And we were camping next to them. We had a tent with us. We didn't have money to stay in hotels and so on and so forth. So they offered us Mexican food and we became friendly. They were so nice. And this was December, around middle of December. They said, Sunil, why don't you come to our home village, Cuernavaca, and spend Christmas with us? So on 30th December, we didn't inform them. We diverted and we went to their home and we knocked. And there were 70 people, all Nani, Nana, Dada, Dadi, uncle, aunts, all there. And they just couldn't believe it. So we had an absolutely wonderful time with them, spending Christmas with them. Then when the clock struck 1st January 1985, Mr. Jose, he gave me a 1 penny coin of Mexico. Oh, sorry, Germany, not Mexico, German coin. Good luck penny. He used to work for a German healthcare giant. So as a New Year, they gave that penny. He said, Sunil, this is for you. It will save you from all the accidents and hazards in life. And hope you reach your home safe and well. I still keep that penny with me. I'm not a superstitious person. Then in 2014, I visited them in Mexico and met them. So this is their granddaughter. He's Mr. Jose, and he had tears in his eyes. That's what life is all about. This is Sara Mejia, lived in Monterrey, Mexico. She was married to an Indian, Dr. Babu. She ran Taj Mahal Hotel, where all cooks were from India. They hosted us there, took us around. I met her last month in Dallas. She has moved from Mexico to US. So it was an absolute utter joy. I met her after about 30 years. This is homecoming. We came to Blythe Steel Plant. We had change in leadership. We had Shri Sangameshwaranji as our managing director. The whole city, if I may tell you, the collectorate, the police, 10 kilometers of the road coming to the Ispat Bhavan head office was lined with people to welcome us. It was a small town. It was a very, very big thing those days. And this when we met Honorable Prime Minister of India, this is Anirudh Guha, this is my mother, my father, my brother, and all the friends and relatives. Those days were open. They said you can bring 15 people, 20 people with you. Now, looking at all this, for you, I thought, thanks a lot, Ashu, for inviting me. I thought, let me put some learning lessons for you. You're about to start and embark on a journey. First and foremost, believe in yourself. You see, you'll have a very feeble voice inside. Anything which you are doing, you are passionate about it, it will keep coming back to you again and again. It will not let you go. And it will excite you. There's a saying, people have ideas. I will also say ideas have people. If your idea is powerful enough, people will collaborate and support you to help you achieve that. Stick to that. There are outstanding examples of people who have transformed right from Konosuke Matsushita of Panasonic or Saichi Honda or Steve Jobs or others. Now, I'm sure you may have heard this Frederick Herzberg theory of motivation. You see, one of the good example I give is of people like Sachin Tendulkar. He loves playing cricket and he makes money out of that. It's his profession. It's his passion. It's his love. Same with Sunil Gavaskar or Brian Lara or golf champions and NBA star Michael Jordan. And it's not easy. You see, what will happen is you will have some interviews for the job and job will come. I very recall one incident in my life. You see, I wanted always a sales and marketing job. I'll apply and many times I didn't get it. So there was one Crompton Greaves or Greaves Cotton Company, and it's may not be there. It was there those days. So they called me for an interview. He said, "What do you like?" Now I was not getting jobs in sales. I told him engineering or design, with the hope I'll get a job. And on the other side, he said, "No, we have opportunity in sales." So you see, I was chasing getting a job, whereas my passion is somewhere else. So this theory is very important. If you don't remember or not looked at, do look at it. When you will work, there are two things, minimum things: compensation, work environment, boss, training, policies. They may make you unhappy. Suppose your compensation is less or you don't like a policy. You will hate your job. Job content is not good. You think you are doing a clerical job. You can do far more better. Boss is not listening to your ideas. It will make you unhappy. But if this problem is removed, it will not excite you. Get my point? What excites you is something very else. So dissatisfaction and satisfaction is not the opposite. So he said, what makes you happy? Let's say, for example, travel makes me happy. Maybe I can do a business around travel rather than chasing my mechanical engineering dream or fixing a bike, etc. Have a strategy for career. Now you'll have two situations coming. Deliberate strategy. You want to be in aviation sector. You want to be a pilot, for example, or you want to be in healthcare, or you want to be in biosciences. So you are trying to look for about laboratories and those kind of companies and those kind of functions. While doing that, suddenly an opportunity will knock your door. Someone will say, "Hi, do you want to do a business around this? Why don't we set up a facility like this? Or why don't do you want to come and work in Estonia for this?" So you will be at a crossroad. You already have a strategy, deliberate, keep pushing for that. And then you may have unanticipated opportunities. This I've taken from Dr. Clayton Christensen. You will see his name in the next slide. He wanted to become a researcher all his life, but he never could. In the end, he became a professor of Harvard, one of the most respected professional of the world. He was the guy who came up with the disruptive technology, innovation, and some of the outstanding work he has done in the world. So this I picked up from him, and it's so true. And you will have these experiences every now and then. Other thing is very, very important to succeed is execution. That means focus and energy. Just imagine I have a lot of energy, I have no focus. On the other side, I have a lot of focus but not energy. So you'll have a lot of challenges, you'll get disrupted, you'll get waylaid. Remain very, very focused on a job or a project or an assignment you choose to pick. This world tour is an outstanding example for that. We were absolutely focused and we believed and we said we're going to do that. We want to get approval. We had challenge of money. We wouldn't get foreign exchange, imagine. Do you know our application went to Pranab Mukherjee as finance minister? Those days he was like de facto prime minister. Even then we couldn't get money. We got only $500 per person to travel for the whole 1 year. Right? Other thing is don't accept poor quality. Pardon me saying this, lot of us have low standards. Chalega. Just don't do that. I'll give you one good example I learned. You see, when we took the bike out on the road, motorcycle, it was a new machine. 6-gear, twin cylinder, 350cc, very powerful. They were advertising 32 kilometers per liter. We got 10 to 12 kilometers per liter. And then within first few days, the spokes of the wheel will breaking apart. So bike will wobble. We can't drive on highway. Till we reached Germany. In Hamburg, one very small shop, 3-4 people shop, a mechanic, he balanced the wheel. After that, 37,000 kilometers, not a single spoke came out. A factory in India couldn't produce a bike which was balanced, whereas one mechanic did it in 2 hours. It could have cost our life. In fact, just before reaching Stockholm, our bike broke down on the highway. And we had to remove all the baggage and take a lift from a highway, camp in the highway wayside. Tremendous inconvenience. At times you'll become boss, you'll become a manager or a vice president. Don't accept poor quality even once from your subordinate colleagues. Once you accept, subordinate will say, ये तो गलती accept करता है. This boss accepts poor quality, so it's okay to produce more poor quality. And state of our India infrastructure, our services, not only, we have come a long way, but still to change the mindset, we have a long way to go. Be prepared. Failure to prepare is not acceptable. People say, when share market will crash, when the economy will crash, when the jobs will come and go. It will always be cyclical. We cannot have sunshine all decades. But not being prepared is not an option. Actually. Imagine how many companies were prepared for the COVID. We have moved into digitization. Now we are using Microsoft Teams. A lot of people are now thanking. But many people don't know, Microsoft put an undersea cable from US to Spain, 6,000 kilometers long, years ahead. That's where data travels. If they had not put this cable, costing millions of dollars, we wouldn't have been connected. So preparation. Be proactive. In this, I don't want to take too much time. You read Stephen Covey's 7 Habits of Effective People. There's a chapter on proactive. It will change your mindset. What do we mean? I'll give you a simple example. My colleague didn't give me information for something. He's hiding information. It's common in the companies. Should I also hide? If yes, then I'm being reactive. My behavior is driven by his mindset and his actions. That's not being proactive. Be patient, have perseverance. It takes time. Things don't change quickly. Right? The X-rays of taking X-ray of an expectant mother can kill a child. This research was known long back, yet the world took 20 years to ban X-ray of pregnant women. 20 years plus. Don't give up. I had one managing director, Mr. Yasi Shekhar. He'll come to Delhi. I was in Delhi. I'll brief him. He says, Sunil, why does this information not come to me? I said, sir, I have submitted the reports to my boss. He says, but why didn't you tell me? I told him, sir, I told you last time also. He says, I'm sorry, but let me tell you one thing. Don't give up till it is done. Even if you have to remind me again and again. Because customer is suffering. Maybe I forgot, I lost, or I passed on the instruction to somebody and he didn't do it. Putting a safety culture takes a long time in industry. Don't give up. Remain very, very strong focused. If there's one thing you want you to learn in life is understand what your internal customer wants, what are his and her implied needs, and do that. Always challenge the status quo. It's a beautiful from Dr. Deming. Why do we do what we do? And why do we do the way we do? First is, do I need an invoice to make the payment? That's the mindset. Why do I need an invoice? I already supplied you. You have a purchase order. Please make the payment. Or do I must follow this procedure to get the job done? So when you go into these positions, think of internal customer and how the work gets done. These are some of my beautiful books I have read in my life, and of course, many more autobiographies and all. I would request you to put this in your to-do or read list whenever you get time. And these are all small books. And don't borrow and don't give it to anyone. These are your companions forever. So just to conclude, I think we got 3-4 minutes left. In the end, it's all about people. We succeeded because people helped us. Diversity, inclusion. India and Pakistan are not friendly nations, yet hundreds of Pakistanis helped us in many countries. Even to the extent in UCLA, University of California, Los Angeles, Irvine campus, the Pakistani student, he gave us the room key. He said, I'll go and stay with my friend. You, both of you can stay here. We just met him by chance through someone. So believe in people. I mean, I have a very strong belief that people are helpful and they want to do good in life. Other things which we didn't experience that much in our early life is being relevant. With my mechanical engineering or MBA degree, I'll keep applying for jobs and getting jobs for 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. It is not so anymore. I have a huge fear of becoming irrelevant, like AI and digital technologies and Bitcoins and fintech. I don't know many of these things. And soon you will find industry doesn't need you. The degree, what your knowledge the professors and teachers have given you is very less. You need to keep reading, investing, doing study. I mean, I keep thinking of doing a program on AI and how AI and process improvement can work. So this is very, very important. For this, if you want, you can look at this beautiful book, 21 Lessons for the 21st Century by, this guy, Yuval Hariri. Beautiful. Now with this, you are right at the corner. Very soon you will have your convocation. You will have a beautiful life ahead. And I wish you all the very best. And have a great life ahead. Wish you great success. And never forget two things. Your parents, your family. They have sacrificed a lot to give you this education. Some of your parents may have been deprived of this. And they have sacrificed their own comfort, joys to give you this education. So 50 years from now, when they'll be old, you have to take care of them. Secondly is your teachers. I teach quite often here and there. One student told me, teachers are like candles. They burn themselves to give light to others. So with this, I conclude with my heartfelt best wishes to all of you. May you rise well in your career, live a balanced life, take care of your family and friends. And thank you so very much, the team, leadership at Shoolini, Atul, Ashu, Ashish, Poonamji, and Dr. Khoslaji. I had a great honor, extremely humble man. And I hope to see you again in campus someday, sometime. So, thank you.
Thank you, sir. That was really, what shall I say, this 1 hour just flew. It was so engaging, and I could just about imagine the journey all through, and being there at that generation when you were talking about no telephone calls and how lightning calls had to be made and the programs on Doordarshan. I could connect with just about everything. Um, I'm sure the kids will ask you a couple of quick questions.
Sure,
Aju,
sure.
would you like to take
Yeah,
up the?
yeah, sure, Poonam. First of all, thank you, Sunilji. I had plans of keeping my camera off and catching up with some work while I listened to you. But let me tell you that in the 1 hour, because the talk was so mesmerizing, I didn't catch up with my work. I was just focusing on your talk. It was so wonderful. We
Really?
have heard you talk about your motorcycle tour here and there. Sometimes when we meet you and at your wonderful Diwali parties, which we missed, of course, last year. But having a comprehensive view of how difficult this task was, and hats off to what you achieved. And I think the kids might be having a hard time relating to it, but of course I come from the same generation, so all that talk, like Poonam said, about TV appearances, the program Fursat Mein, and the fact that you laid so much emphasis on people. I mean, I was very moved and happy to see your photographs with the same people 20, 30 years later when you met them. So it's all about people, like you said. You have to give importance to people in your lives.
Yeah.
Yes. Ideas happen only because of people, like you said.
Absolutely.
Second thing I just want to reiterate is that today's generation, everybody wants to talk. We have 20-year-old people talking at TEDx talks and TED talks and stuff like that. I just want to say this is a special class for me, and that's why I invited you for having a session with them, because I have taught them, so I have a fondness for them. So I just want to mention to these kids, this is your time to act, to gain those experiences. Talking will come to you when you have achieved what Sunilji has achieved, for example. Then when you talk, people will listen, and because you will have some concrete achievements in your bag. So don't because in this today's world, Sunilji, we are so focused on attention, because with all this social media, you're worried about what to put next on your social media. You want to talk, you want to show the world that you have achieved a lot. I think in that we are missing out that actual putting your head down and working and achieving and thinking, more than that, even thinking about what fascinates you. Even in for ourselves, I mean, if I start looking at my Facebook, Instagram one day, my productivity goes down 70%, because I'm looking at what I'm doing, what 50 other people are doing. Then there are emotions involved where you start feeling that you're not doing enough. You start getting anxiety about what the others are doing. Point is, put your head down, think about what you like doing, and then do it. You'll have plenty of time to talk about it and tell people about it when you have achieved that. So I just want to say that, and thank you so much, Sunilji. This was wonderful. I loved it. I think it was one of our best Guru talks.
Really.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you.
So, Devanshi's question, should I read it out, Ashu?
You want me to do that?
Haji, please go ahead.
Okay. Starting something, so Devanshi is asking, starting something is easy. How to maintain that energy and focus throughout the journey? What inspired you, sir?
Very true. I mean, in fact, it's a very beautiful question. Thank you for asking. I mean, if you love something, it will continue. It goes back to the original belief, actually. If you are just doing for a shallow reason, just to gain some attention or a short-term benefit, it will not sustain. It will die. If you really believe in it, it will only thrive and grow, and it will become a self-sustaining legacy, actually. There are a lot of them. So I think it has to come out of your heart and passion for that. I mean, this, in short, I can say this. Otherwise, it will die of its own death.
Yeah. Yeah, in fact, Sunilji, I would just like to add that you'll realize, even I have realized this thing, in the course of a day itself, if we look at what we are doing, when we are doing what we really enjoy doing, which is our passion, you don't feel tired doing it.
At all, exactly.
You have the energy for it always. It is the other things that tire you. So you have to prioritize. You have to first become aware of what you're passionate about, what makes you happy, what energizes you. And I think then focus your attentions on that. And then the energy is there always.
Yeah, always. You see, there's a nice saying, I think, in Bhagavad Gita or somewhere, Karam kiye ja, phal ki chinta mat kar. It is kind of connected to that. If you love what you are doing, results will come. Where will they go?
Yeah. So there's another question. The things that mattered most to you, were they the same before and after the trip, or did they change?
I mean, I would say I learned a lot. Matter the most. Of course, they keep changing as we grow and learn and experiences. Initially, I remember job titles was very important to me. After doing engineering, I had a job title junior engineer. Or, in the steel industry, the titles are superintendent, things like that. We didn't like that. We wanted proper, nice titles, vice presidents and things like that. But now I don't care, because I learned leadership is not about titles, actually, right? My interest, this thing, I was more individualistic. Now I'm more team person. And, we learn a lot as we keep growing, and these experiences teach you. Diversity, I had no idea what's the value of diversity and inclusion is. So I keep changing. You see, the more we learn, the more we realize how little we know. So that keeps us learning and evolving, adapting all the time, in fact.
Right. One more question I think we have time for, which is Hasiba's questions. So Hasiba is our international student from Afghanistan, actually.
Oh,
She's
very
saying,
nice.
how do we get the finest human capital for a startup? We might have the proper vision and mission and strategy and even the finances, but we
Yeah,
are unable to find qualified manpower, especially when companies decide to go international. How do we find the
yeah,
best
yeah,
manpower? Any
yeah.
tips, Sunilji, that you would like to give her?
Um, uh, Very, very intelligent, very nice question. And I'm really happy that you're coming in from Afghanistan. I hope to visit your country. I see they got beautiful, beautiful mountains and a lot of natural beauty on that. You see, there are two thoughts to that. In my view, attitude, behavior, mindsets are more important than the technical skill. Technical skill can still be learned on the job, but the attitude, behaviors are not easy to do that. Now, some people are able to spot good people early on in the interviews and on the job. So you need to, it's a very, very difficult thing. And you need to invest in your people to give them the opportunity to learn and develop. So to spot the energy, the passion, the changes, ability to learn all the time, ability to adapt, humbleness, humility, these are the things I will like to value much more. I'll give you one of my personal experience. I'm well connected in the quality community. I've got a lot of people, they've got a lot of certificates, Six Sigma, Black Belt, Lean, this, that, ISO auditor, but they still produce very poor quality work. On the other side, I had a colleague, she had none of these qualifications, but she had an attitude of quality and excellence. She will just not let any assignment go till it achieves good quality, perfection, or meets the needs of the customer. And my job was to just train her and tell her about these techniques. But of her own, she built tremendous reputation in the image because of the attitude and mindset. So you need to look at the soft skills of the people, and it will take some time to do that. And don't encourage, chamchagri or what you say, psychophancy, be objective, to, feedback, criticism, read a lot on leadership, and these things will automatically come to you. There's a very good book on leadership from Harvard Business School. I have that, just leadership actually. There are 8-10 essays in that. Try to read that, or read Peter F. Drucker also on leadership. Thank you.
So there's a comment and a question from Shashwat, who's saying, "Amazing session. I felt I was traveling through the world." One question out of curiosity: what was more fruitful, the journey, the destination, the planning, or the meeting of new people?
I mean, everything was fascinating and memorable in its own sense, but meeting people remains at the top. Like, if you remember, I gave you a lot of examples of people, and what I told you is only 0.1% of what I went through. So it's the people actually, and they make all the difference actually. There's a very nice cartoon. Somebody is sitting on a donkey and walking, sitting on a donkey, and somebody is walking. So he's asking, is the journey more important or is the destination? He says the company is the most important. So is the people.
So I don't see any more questions. If anyone has any last question, otherwise I think we are over time by 15 minutes, but I think
It was so, yes. And
we
it
are
was,
okay with that. But if anybody has any last questions, otherwise we can wrap up and
Okay, I'll ask the last question. It's been on my mind. You said you need to separate the music from the noise.
Yeah.
When you were leaving, there were so many suggestions. You said shadi karwa lo, green card le lo, all those things. But was there any music that was there a suggestion that you carried with you all through and said yes, that made a difference? Or is there something that you said, I wish I had taken that suggestion more seriously?
Yeah, very true. I mean, excellent point, Dr. Poonamji. You see, the main thing was what I told you, our Shri Mitraji told us, you are our ambassadors for the country, actually. Don't do anything wrong, illegal, which brings disrepute or bad name for us or your family and friends and things like that. You know, all kind of crazy ideas were there when we were going, let's say, from US to Mexico. Mexico is known for drugs. Somebody says, thoda drug le jao, wahan bech dena. Aise mil jayenge, then you can fly over Pacific. Right? So don't do anything wrong into that. Don't cheat people and things like that. So music, you see, this is a very beautiful book called A Bias for Action by Sumantra Ghoshal. He's, I think, a dean, I think, in US in one of the universities.
No, Sunil ji, he was actually one of the founders of Indian School of Business.
I see.
The head of INSEAD.
INSEAD education, yes.
And he's passed away now, unfortunately.
Is it?
Yeah, but we had a course with him, and I think he was wonderful.
Wonderful, yeah.
Personal.
Yeah.
When it comes to strategy, I think. Yeah.
Yes, yeah. You see, he did landmark work on e-government. He developed the framework for e-government for the automation of services, and had opportunity to meet him a few times as an employee of the government of Abu Dhabi Digital Authority. So in his book, he's saying very nicely, just remain focused on the task. You know, there'll be politics, there'll be distraction, there'll be other jobs, priorities. Don't let that take away the focus, actually. And of course, Ramcharan's book on execution is also there. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for answering that.
Okay, welcome. Okay.
Once again, sir, thank you on behalf of Dr. Khosla, Atul, Ashu, myself, the students especially. That was extremely engaging, and I'm sure more students will reach out to you for more queries and answers to their questions. Thank you for being such a...
You can direct any questions you have for Sunil ji.
Yeah,
I'll be happy to forward. I'm already receiving a few messages from faculty, which I'm forwarding to you, Sunil ji. If students can tell me as well, and I'll definitely pass them on to you.
Thank you very much, and wish you all the best. And I'm proud to be associated with prestigious university like Shoolini. Is one of the best in the world.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.